no man but to go and show thyself to the priest and offer for thy cleansing according as Moses commanded for a testimony unto them. But so much the more when there are fame abroad of him, and great multitudes came together to hear and to be healed by him of their infirmities. This morning, if I'm going to give you a topic this morning, it will be Christ can make you clean.
Amen.
Christ can make you clean.
Yes, he will.
He can cleanse you and make you clean. Here was a man, the Bible says, that was full of leprosy. And leprosy was a disease that affected the body, the skin, and then people can see when you have leprosy. And this man needed help. He needed more than a doctor's medicine, because apparently he may have tried a doctor's medicine and a doctor's medicine didn't help. He may have tried other means and it didn't work. He was full of leprosy, and Leviticus says, and if you turn with me in the book of Leviticus chapter 13, you don't have to move on to, it says in verse 44 and 45 of chapter 13, he said, he is a leprous man, he is unclean. The priest shall pronounce him utterly unclean. His plague is in his head. And the leper whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent, and his head bare, and he shall put a covering upon his upper lip, and shall cry, unclean, unclean. And so you can imagine what this man was going through. Number one, he was isolated from the main population. I don't think any of us want to be isolated. We want to be able to enjoy the fellowship, come into the sanctuary,
Amen,
and worship God. We want to be able to come and sing with our friends and family.
Amen.
So this man, he couldn't do that. He was isolated from friends and family, and he was also had to walk around, and he had to cry, unclean, unclean. Can you imagine living in such a position that wherever you go, you had to cry, unclean, unclean, because people couldn't come near you. You were in a rejected state. You felt bad. You were in a condition that it really affects your mind, body, soul, and spirit. So this man, being in a desperate situation, perhaps he heard that Jesus was coming his way, and he needed help. And desperate situation calls for desperate measure.
Yeah, wow.
If you are in a desperate situation, you need someone to come and help you. Not yesterday, but you want him to come now.
Amen.
And so he heard that Jesus was coming by. Who seeing Jesus? And notice what this man did. The Bible says he fell on his face. In Mark, I think it was in Mark, it says that he worshipped Jesus. He felt and he worshipped Jesus. And he fell on his face and worshiped. And he says to Jesus, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean.
Yes.
He wanted to be cleansed. He wanted to be made free from the bondage that had him bound.
That's right.
He wanted to be free to go wherever he wanted to, with no restriction. He wanted to be able to come to the house of God and worship God. He wanted to go and live among his family. He was tired of being in such a position. He was tired of the burden that he carried. He was tired of the pain that he suffered. He was tired. Have you ever been in a position where you were tired of the condition you were in?
Amen.
You needed help. And the only way you're going to get help, you got to throw off the pride. Get rid of your pride.
That's right.
We can't look at what people are going to say or what people are going to do, because we need help. I need help. You need help. And so we can't look and say, I wonder what this one going to say. I wonder what this one going to do. This man was not concerned about what people think. He had reached a place in his life where he was not concerned whether you like him or not. He needed help. So the Bible says he cried. Jesus says, Jesus, thou canst make me clean.
Amen.
And listen what Jesus said to this man. Notice what he did. The Bible says he put forth his hand. Now, if you read the Bible and you know, you're not supposed to touch a person that was full of leprosy. That's not leprosy. You're not supposed to be. He was ceremonially unclean, and you couldn't touch him. But notice what the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords did. He touched him.
Oh, yes.
There is something about the touch. When Christ touched him, the Bible says, he touched him saying, I will be thou clean. Christ desired to make this man clean. He didn't want this man to go around the rest of his life crying, unclean, unclean. He wanted this man to be set free. Free from the condition, free from the burden, free from the shame, free from the heartache. He wanted his man to be set free. And Christ said in himself, listen what he said. He said, I will be thou clean.
Yes.
And the Bible says immediately. Not tomorrow, but immediately, the Bible says, the leprosy departed from him.
Yes. Amen. Praise the Lord.
Leprosy left him.
Yes.
And he was clean. Do you think he sat around and mope or word? This man knew that he was clean because something took place in his life. Something that only Jesus Christ can do. Something that he longed for year after months, days after days. Something took place and this man was about to keep quiet. The Bible says Jesus charged him to tell no man. And it's hard to keep something to yourself when when something good happened to you. It's hard to keep it to yourself. Jesus said, go and show thyself to the priest and offer for thy cleansing according as Moses commanded for a testimony. So Jesus was saying to this man, look, you go. I don't want you to mention this. I want you to go and show yourself to the priest, because the priest had the authority in that day and time pronounce one clean. The priest was the one that you go to and say, and he examine you and he will pronounce you clean if you were clean. But it said, but so much more when they are famed. The best man couldn't keep it to himself. He went and he spread the news of what God had done in his life. Friends, I'm here this morning to tell you about Jesus. And perhaps you may be in a situation this morning that you need God's help. Perhaps you are bound by sin and you've been struggling and you need God's help. I'm here this morning to tell you that God can deliver you from the chains of sin that bind you. Now you may say to yourself, I'm not bound. I can do what I can free to go. But deep down in your heart, there's a chain that is wrapped around you. And you can't live a Christian life with the chains of sin.